My name is Rob Hindle. I'm a Senior Area Education Manager for the WEA, the Workers' Educational Association. And for 2 years I was manager of the Painted Fabrics project. The project ran from 2017 to 2019 and we were supported by the Heritage Lottery Fund, also by the Sheffield Town Trust and a whole range of local community organisations, higher education and other bodies across Sheffield. We were interested in doing this project because it's a little known story about Sheffield and about people who fought in the First World War and were rehabilitated into civic life through the support of artists from Sheffield Art School. People coming back from the trenches in the First World War to the area were sent to Warncliffe War Hospital. Many of them had suffered grievous injuries, losing limbs and also shell shock, and had severe mental health difficulties. A group of women from the art school went along to support the injured servicemen and provided them with equipment and tools and support to enable them to begin to paint on fabric, hence the name of what became a successful national and international firm, the Painted Fabrics Company. With the support and the influence of people involved, the Painted Fabrics Company was first started in West Bar in Sheffield before moving on to premises in Norton in the south of the city, where they remained working and living right up until 1959. We were interested in bringing together a group of adults to engage in the project, finding out more about the story and the men, and also to learn about the methods that they used in producing painted fabrics for interiors. And over the 2 years, a group of over 100 people got involved in the research and artistic reflection and production. It was really important for us that the people who came to the project were people who brought their own stories. Many of the participants had experienced challenges in their mental health or physical health, and this really gave them a connection with and an insight into the story of the men. They got involved in art making across a range of media, including design, craft, painting, drawing, storytelling, poetry and so on. A significant part of the project was the production of a play, which we did in collaboration with professional theatre people, Kate Rutter and Stacey Sampson, and with the support of Sheffield University. A core group of the participants on the project were very keen to get involved in the formulation and production of the play, and they worked with Stacey and Kate over a series of months in formulating the story, which then Kate took and turned into a script. The project then recruited people from the community, drama students from the university, and with the support of Sheffield University's drama department were able to begin to rehearse and ultimately to perform the play in the drama studio there. The project was keen to have involvement in all areas of playmaking. So a group of students worked with people at the art house, with the project coordinator Ali Kitley-Jones, and with other professionals in costume and prop making. Kate, meanwhile, continued to work with students and participants in rehearsing and preparing the play. They worked alongside community actors and students in producing and performing, culminating in a 2-night performance at the Sheffield University Drama Studio.
My name is Kate Rutter. I was the director of this project and also fulfilled other roles within it. The project is part of a much bigger project. The play, Painters of Light and Shadow, which this video concerns, is part of a project, a much bigger project, run by the Workers' Educational Association and funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. And the purpose of the project is to bring to light the story of the painted fabrics. Now, the painted fabrics were started by two women at the beginning of the 20th century, Annie Bindon Carter from Sheffield and Edith Jagger. And their idea was to help disabled servicemen who came back from the First World War with no prospect of a life at all. At that time, of course, there was no welfare state and no help for them. And she felt that if the men could be taught a skill, in this case, painting on fabric, their lives might be transformed, as indeed they are and they were.
We are the painters of light and shadow, the past, the present and hope for the future. We are 100 years of time. We hold the memory of what's lost and found.
We know what's been said and what's held back.
We know what has been sacrificed.
We are tied to this place of brick and stone, the place where our story began. We are tied to this place of brick and stone, the place where our story ended.
The project chose to recruit people who themselves have very complex needs. And many of the people have had involved from the start have had mental health difficulties or problems with homelessness or complex needs of various kinds. So many of the cast you see in the video are people who were recruited right at the beginning of this 2-year project. In the play, in the main, they form the chorus, the painters of light and shadow. And you'll see they're all dressed in workmen's outfits with cloth caps on. And they are the custodians of the story of the painted fabrics movement. And what those people did not know about the history of those people isn't worth knowing. First of all, we're involved in a 6-month period of learning to research the issue, of learning about the First World War, of visiting sites of importance in Sheffield. And from this initial period of learning, they came to us in the drama section of the project, full of ideas and information.
To go, I'll take you for a spree. You do as I do and you'll do right. Fall in and follow me.
And out of that initial period came the gem and the central story of Rose and Charlie and their family, and how they lived through the First World War and then lived on into the post-war period in which they were very, very much involved in the painted fabrics movement.
And when I told them how beautiful you are, they didn't believe me. They didn't believe me. Your lips, your eyes, your cheeks, your hair are in a glass beyond compare. You're the loveliest girl that one could see.
At this point, I came into the project and continued to devise and write with this core group until a script started to form. We then recruited volunteers to act out the story as it was unfolding, and we used drama students and people who'd just finished their degrees and theatre people with lots of experience and who wanted more experience. And so in the end, we ended up with a cast of 21 people, which was an enormous ask, in fact. And out of that period, I continued to write as we began the rehearsal process, and eventually we had a completed play, which then went into rehearsal. And it was the most amazing, groundbreaking project. And as you'll see from the video, the level of commitment from everybody involved, from the core group, the chorus, to all the volunteers, was 100% commitment. And the play that we eventually produced at Sheffield Drama Studio on the 1st and 2nd of December 2018 and performed to packed houses was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think everybody involved in it should be very proud.
All in line! By the left! Quick! March! Left! 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 Left!
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly. Farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long.
In addition to the core group who were in the drama, there was also a group who'd been part of the original core group. Some of them had, some of them were newly recruited people who took on the task of making a set and costumes for the piece. And as you can see, they produced some beautiful, beautiful hangings and drapes full of poppies, all hand sewn, and costumes and all sorts of things. So it was a kind of two-part process, with one group working on that side of it and then bringing it into us and us dressing the set with that, with the amazing help of Blue Merrick, the stage manager, and Hannah Lowe, who teched the piece, and with the help of the staff of the drama studio, and Bill MacDonald, who is the head of drama at Sheffield University and responsible for the studio space. So the two halves of the project came together absolutely brilliantly. The play was beautifully acted and it looked absolutely stunning.
Silence hangs like a fog over the fields of northern France. The silhouettes of broken trees stand black against the skyline.
No farmer with his trembling horse will dare to plough or sow, for fear of the dead men that lie beneath his cratered fields.
As the bitter winter of 1918 turns to a sickly spring.
10 million poppies break the earth, as angry as a raw wound.
In quiet rooms with eyes tight shut, the women dance alone, hoping against hope, still listening for the sound of limping feet.
The impact of the drama part of the project, and of course I can only speak for that, is that in some senses some of the participants have said that the project has been life-changing. It's something that people have been involved in a long, long 2-year process during which they produced a play, a full-length drama, and performed it to exacting and high standards. They've also put on an exhibition, they've had an open day at the Memorial Hall in Sheffield, and in terms of confidence building, in terms of self-affirmation, in terms of inclusivity in a larger project, particularly in the drama, where volunteers and people with complex needs work together in an integrated team, I think this has had a profound effect on all the participants who engaged in it.
Good
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to welcome you here to our workshops at West Bar. As Lloyd George said, we need to build a nation fit for heroes. Yet many returning soldiers have been left destitute. Soldiers who have sacrificed their limbs and sometimes their sanity. Now we believe these men should not be forgotten, not be discarded. So here at Painted Fabrics Limited, we give these men pride and a sense of dignity, because this is work, not charity.
Here.
Very good.
Now the number of men employed at present is 65. 65! You'd think they have 130 arms between them, wouldn't you? They have 102. You'd think they have 130 legs between them. They have 75. And yet these men have a wonderful facility with the fabrics, and each piece contains the identity of the man who made it, and that makes it absolutely unique. So now I'm going to let these products speak for themselves. Please do take a look around. We'll be ready to take your orders.
Wow.
And it's a wonderful project. The whole 2-year project is a wonderful project. And of course, in terms of heritage, because it's the Heritage Lottery Fund that funded it, it's brought to light and increased the whole profile of the painted fabrics movement. Sheffield museums have been involved and have increased the profile of their exhibition of the painted fabrics movement, which can be seen up at Weston Park. So it's had a profound effect. I mean, there were so many little community involvements. For example, one of our volunteers is a person who was part of Sheffield Samba Band. And so when I found this out, I was able to say, well, any chance we can have your big drum? And that gave us wonderful sound effects for the project. And also people were prepared to come in as a little tiny band of 3 people and play music throughout. The local music specialist, Josie Robson, who runs 3 choirs in Sheffield, came in and worked with the cast and produced lovely music for the cast. And so there were just so many people coming in, doing so many lovely things and engaging with the core group and with the cast, that I felt it really was the most genuine community project I've ever been involved in. I've been involved in community projects for 45 years. So I think it worked exceptionally well and had long-term resonance, particularly for the core group, who, by the way, since this project have gone on to do all sorts of things. They've recently applied for a grant themselves under their own steam, and they're writing a book about the whole experience. So the echoes just go on and on, the ripples just go on and on. And I was proud to be part of it.
And when they ask us, and they're certainly going to ask us, the reason why we didn't win the quad again, oh, we'll never tell them, no, we'll never tell them. There was a front, but damned if we
The project culminated in summer of 2019 with an exhibition and bazaar which was held at the Cutlers Hall in Sheffield. The Cutlers Hall was chosen because it's a landmark building in the centre of the city, and therefore the event could be a high profile one, but more importantly it was a venue that had been chosen by the original Painted Fabrics in the 1930s to hold a bazaar. The Painted Fabrics company achieved a great deal of profile throughout the 1920s and 30s, selling their fabrics through companies such as Liberty's in London. And this meant that their annual exhibitions and bazaars, where they sold their work to the public, were patronised by royalty and other significant figures in society. And this meant that the story at that time was extremely well known in the public domain. It was interesting for me finding out about this story in 2016 and 17 when the project started, because I felt it was a story that was very little known, even in Sheffield, and I think it was something that deserved to be better known. Following the end of the project, a group of the people who'd been involved wanted to continue finding out more about the story, continue developing their skills and expertise in painting and designing fabrics and selling their materials. They also wanted to tell the story to wider audiences across the city, and they continue to do that today. They are setting up a social enterprise in order to be able to do that, to go round to schools and other public venues to tell the story and testify to what the men's experience had been from their own perspective and to do justice to them. I was really proud to be involved in the Painted Fabrics project, and I hope that it will inspire others to find out more about the story and get involved in making art to reflect and respect our history.